Good afternoon, everybody. I want to talk about these ICE raids happening everywhere. We've seen now that ICE are going into African states.
Recently, I've been covering on this channel the situation going on with Hispanic immigrants and the responses that African Americans, aka hashtag FBA, aka Black Americans, have toward these particular groups. In my opinion, Black Americans feel that Hispanics typically have never supported them, and now that members of the Hispanic community are being deported, there is really no empathy or sympathy from the Black community. But now a greater discussion is coming into play right now, and that is, what is Black America's response towards Africans or Caribbeans being deported? Is this the same position being taken towards Hispanics? Rewind! Unlike Hispanics, Caribbeans and African immigrants are more closer to hashtag FBA, or the historic African American community. We've had many people in our community that have fought for civil rights alongside Black Americans, such as Harry Belafonte, Sidney Poitier, and other people that we would consider to be a part of our larger African American community. But that was then. Is this the case now? And right now, there tends to be more of a disparity outside of some folks. I understand you have your New York City people in Philadelphia, but online it seems a lot of African Americans are feeling very similar towards African or Caribbean immigrants as they do toward the Hispanic community. And that is why a particular young lady went viral on TikTok for saying this.
The 14th Amendment, when Donald Trump said that, the 14th Amendment was for the babies of slaves. He did not mean that he was supporting your FBA Black behind. Y'all, FBA people are the biggest I've ever seen in my life, and it's embarrassing. Why are you out here on the internet talking about Donald Trump said that the FBA moves, that the 14th Amendment was for the babies of slaves? He said something so spiritual. He really is sticking up for us. That's the truth. Y'all keep trying to cosplay our culture. Look, African Americans, we have a culture. We have our own African American subgroup culture. We do. Anybody who tries to deny that is weird. But just because African Americans have our own culture does not mean that we don't have ties to Africa. African American culture literally originates from our ancestors who are displaced West Africans. And we created a land here. We created a community here. And the more you guys try to dishonor your ancestors by coming on the internet and saying we have no ties to Africa, we've been here for 400 years, we're not African anymore, we're American, you sound slow. You wanna know why you sound slow? We built this country by force. We were forced to build this country. We were forced to do this. We were forced to become entertainers. We were forced to do it, and we did a damn good job doing it. We did. That's why I love being African American, because we pushed through some shit. But to deny your ancestral heritage, to deny where you really come from, is so annoying to me. Being xenophobic towards all these Africans. I see y'all like, oh yeah, deport the Africans. Deport them. Send them away. They're xenophobic. They don't like Black Americans. A lot of Africans love Black Americans.
One of the first things that the young lady says is that, hashtag FBA is denying their African roots. And I want to talk about this because this is something that I've never heard before. Now, I don't think that anybody from the hashtag FBA community would say that I don't have African ancestral DNA. And that is something that I don't really see. Sometimes some people may say that, but for the majority, I don't think that's the case. I think that all the people that I know that are hashtag FBA or claim to be the historical African American community would definitely agree that their ancestral DNA comes from Africa. The question is, do they have a relationship with Africa that is beneficial?
He's right,
Okay, that's the question that we want to talk about. Is there any parity between the continent of Africa and African Americans or Black Americans? All right, but I can get into that a little bit later. I also want to talk about the fact that she says that hashtag FBA is being xenophobic when these African immigrants are being deported. And that is stupid. Okay, that doesn't make sense. Like, why are we doing that? And she even called brothers and sisters the raccoon word. Now, I want to say this because I've lived in Uganda for 3 years straight now. All right. And I pay a work permit fee every year of $2,500 plus all kind of taxes and fees to be here legally. Now, you can talk about Black Americans coming to the continent of Africa all you want, but is the minute that you're here illegally, they can deport you. And if you're not paying taxes or adding on to African countries, they will get you out of here quick, okay? And this is something that she doesn't understand. I honestly believe that if an African or a Caribbean or any immigrant, for that matter, if they are in the country legally and they are doing what they're supposed to be doing, I honestly don't feel that, African Americans or hashtag FBA have a problem with that. The issue comes when these people are in the country illegally and then they're taking up resources from citizens, such as, housing and homeless shelters and taking up from resources for like migrant shelters, and taxpayers have to pay for that. That's what people are talking about. And you can talk about it as xenophobic all you want, but this is the big issue that people are discussing, right? And I am a person, and any other African American that lives in Africa, we got to pay our way. You got to come back, come live here, find out a way to support yourself, hire people into the business, sometimes risk, that people steal from you, and then get told on top of that you're not even African. Now, again, y'all see what I look like. I mean, I got a big nose, I'm dark skinned, and, people could easily confuse me from being directly from West Africa until I talk. And you want to know what they tell me all the time? That you're white, okay? You're not an African. You're from America. You might look like us, but you are not us. Africans tell you that. They don't mean no disrespect, but they'll just say you're not like us. And so when African Americans or hashtag FBA say the same thing back to Africans or Caribbeans, it's an issue. But Africans tell you that all the time. They tell me that all the time. Like, you're a white person. You're a Muzungu. Even though you're Black, you're a Muzungu. You're not like us. And that's not disrespectful. But when hashtag FBA says that to a Caribbean or an African, it's a problem. No, they are not like us. It's the truth. We're different, right? When we're here on the continent of Africa or vice versa, we're not the same. We didn't grow up the same. So no, we're not like each other. It doesn't mean that we can't have a relationship, but we're just not the same, okay? And we have differences. We see the world different. We grow up different. But the whole point is, if they are there illegally, then they shouldn't be there. Just if I was here illegally, they shouldn't be here, okay? Now, you even have Africans talking about how to avoid ICE detention.
We've seen now that ICE are going into African stores. I'm sorry, I'm not just being particular about Africans, but look at me, hear my accent. I'm a Nigerian American. ICE are going into African stores now. So to avoid that, the only way you can avoid that is, I'm not gonna say don't go in there, but when you're going into African store or any store, they went into Walmart. Have your green card, have a picture of your green card or your work authorization, even your passport, have a picture on your phone. Yes, it is illegal. The burden should be on them, but the burden is on you right now. If you don't show something, they're going to detain you. They might release you the following morning or something, but you're going to get detained. So, to avoid being detained, on top of your ID or your license, whatever, have a picture of your green card or even if it's expired. Even if your work authorization is expired. It doesn't make you illegal. You are out of status, but you're not illegal.
Now, the reason why this is happening in the first place is because, just like in the Hispanic community, people that are illegal, they tend to hang out in places where they find comfort or familiarity. This is the same thing that, the Hispanics are doing in LA. ICE is going to Hispanic shops, Hispanic restaurants, and raiding places because they know illegals are going to be shopping there, eating certain type of foods and stuff like that. So if they're going into African shops, they are going there looking for illegals. Okay. And here is something else important.
At least I got a country I could go back to. That's what they used to tell Black Americans. At least I got a country I could go back to. What's wrong? You don't want to go home now? And these Black immigrants be acting like their countries don't be deporting Black people. Because check this out. Ghana deporting Nigerians for begging. Ghana, Nigeria deporting people. The Bahamas, bro, they deported everybody. The entire diaspora is getting deported in the Bahamas. And it seemed like nobody liked the Haitians. Well, according to her reasoning, the entire Black diaspora is xenophobic. If there was deportation Olympics, the Bahamas. The Bahamas is winning. They ain't caring. And then these immigrants try to fearmonger with, oh, black Americans could get deported too. No. The only people that's getting deported is black immigrants. And when they come over here and have kids on American soil. I don't want to use that word because, yeah, it's offensive, but you know what I'm talking about.
Now, shout out to this brother again, right? He's on the money. Again, I've heard Africans tell me personally, look, I got a country I can go back to. Like, I'm working in America and I'm buying property in Nigeria. I have a farm in Ivory Coast. I got a farm in Uganda. Okay. But at the same time, if you want to talk about being xenophobic, I live in Africa. I can tell you that the most xenophobia you might see is between two neighboring countries. I don't even want to name those things right now, but hey, you know, they mentioned something. Nigeria and Ghana. Nigeria and Ghana have a very competitive beef, if you will, to a certain degree. And they have no issue deporting each other, have been doing so for a long time. Tanzania and Kenya, okay, have no problem with deporting each other. Rwanda and Uganda have all kind of trade wars all the time, okay? And if anybody who has traveled throughout Africa as an African, don't tell me about xenophobia unless you've been an African traveling throughout the country. I've seen it, all right? I've seen how other Africans have been treated traveling throughout the continent of Africa and being xenophobic. And, you know, you ask Ward am I, as a guy I know, I've seen Ward am I many times. He'll tell you he's never been treated so bad up until he's been traveling throughout Africa. And this is a person that's there illegally with a visa. I mean, and still, you know, sometimes paying bribes. I think the issue comes down to, okay, either they're all black and we need to help them and assist them because what? They are here, they are people, so they can be there illegally. When I'll tell you what, go live in Africa and be there illegal, and people find out that you're an American and you're not supporting, they'll get you out of there, all right? And what I want to do is go into some of these comments and see what folks were saying. Now, Tariq Nasheed posted her video in particular on his X account, and people were basically just roasting the chick. Let's look at Larry. I'm not African at all. I'm FBA. Sorry, try again. Now, I don't think that Larry has an issue saying that his roots are from Africa. However, I believe that hashtag FBA, what he is now and what he identifies is what he is right now. Okay. And that's what he is. We didn't fail and flee from nowhere that you built. Take care, Black Blonde. We don't care about what you're whining about. She deleted the video from her TikTok, so it got so bad that they started roasting her ass up. This person goes, LOL at built the country. You can't possibly believe that. White people built the country. Black people helped a little bit. Damn. Trenton says, every time I hear Tether babble, I hear the adults talking from Charlie Brown is getting predictable at this point. She looked Haitian. One of her 4 grandparents might be FBA. And I keep hearing a lot of Black Americans pretty much calling out other African Americans or hashtag FBA for, you know, saying, hey, listen, the Haitian immigrants gotta go, or hey, the African immigrants gotta go. But I'll tell you one thing, and this is for me living on the continent of Africa. You are treated not like a brother or sister most of the time. All right. Don't get me wrong. You'll meet nice people, people who will help you, people who will help you as genuinely as a human if you're a nice person. But if you're looking for somebody to look at you as if you're one of them, it's just not gonna it's not gonna happen, right? What's gonna occur is you're gonna come here or any part of Africa, and you're gonna have to prove yourself that you deserve to be here. That means by spending money, by hiring people, going above and beyond. There's a lot of unaccountability here. Now, that's the same thing that immigrants got to do in America, okay? Immigrants, whether you Black, white, or Hispanic, you got to follow the law. You got to prove that you deserve to be in the country. You got to prove that you're helping the country develop. If you're not doing that and you're in there illegally, they'll deport you. Dubai deports a whole bunch of Africans every year. African countries deport. South Africans deport other Africans all the time. The reality is that when you're a foreigner in somebody else's land, you can't make mistakes. I'm here in Uganda. I can tell you, you can't make mistakes here. All right? You're not from here. Your life can be a danger. You can mess yourself up financially. You have to be on the straight and narrow when you live in somebody else's land. And that's the whole situation. All right? The argument isn't for me whether somebody identifies if they're Pan-African or they're hashtag FBA. That's irrelevant. Okay? If the people are legal and they can be there, they won't get deported. But if they are not supposed to be there, they will get deported. And as long as that we stay on those two, narratives, that's it. Like I said, I live in Africa. I got to have my papers. Okay? I got to have my papers. I got to make sure that I'm up to date on everything that the country asks me to do financially or legally. If I don't, I'm in trouble. I'll be deported or fined or both. What don't y'all get with that? Like, you can't come to somebody else's country doing whatever you want to do and then defending it. Okay? Because here's what happens. When you defend what somebody does is wrong, that permeates into your community. Then you'll get mad when it starts affecting you. Because I'll tell you right now, Africans not going to let you be over here illegal and taking over their stuff. They're not going to do it. The Jamaicans won't let you do it either. They'll get rid of you. All right? So that's all that it is. And we need to leave it at that for what it is for now. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I appreciate it for all you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.